Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of our series. Today we're going to continue with the bandages, which are the bandages that are around the character. I have my high poly here, and I want to show you a couple of things that we can do to try, and I am going to emphasize really strongly here, try to avoid spirals. So the first thing is I'm going to clone this guys into a different one. You guys know I like to work on a separate file to keep the original as intact as possible. I can see a couple of errors here, so I'm going to use my BMT, which is a shortcut for move topological, and just push this guy in a little bit there. And this guy out. It shouldn't affect the spirals, like this thing that we're doing here, this little movement. It's just going to make the objects look a little bit cleaner. There we go. So that the overlaps look as nice as possible. Now we're going to do the same thing we've done before. We're going to go to Decimation Master, and we're going to pre-process this current file, or this current format, this current geometry. Remember that by reducing the amount of polygons that we have, the remesher can try to give us a better effect. Now, from doing a couple of tests, I found out that as the more complex the object is, the more difficult it is to get the proper, the proper like resolution to avoid spirals. So there's one particular piece in this axe that has a little bit of an issue. I'll show you in just a second. It's this one right here. So this piece right here, since it's not really a round piece, it's having a lot of issues trying to create exactly what we want. So let's see what we get here. First of all, I'm going to go see plugin, and let's try a 5% decimation. We don't need a lot of topology. Most of this thing is just noise, and we're going to retexture this once we are inside of Substance. I'm going to export this as in our assets folder, the retopo, FBX, of course. And we have the axe upper bandages high. There we go. We saved that because it's going to be our final high poly. Okay. And then we're going to go to C remeshing. So we know that the C remeshing over here, geometry, C remeshing, and C remeshing. Let's not do half. Let's try to bring this all the way down to 1. It will try to find the best possible solution. And this is, again, the unfortunate nature of automatic tools, especially for topology. When you're doing topology, we are dependent on one of what the topology can find. You might get lucky. The algorithm here inside of ZBrush is meant to avoid spirals as much as possible. So you might get lucky. So for instance, here I can see that we're clear on all of these guys. There's a spiral right there. That one's fine. That one's fine. There's a spiral right there. So those two pieces, the ones that were a little bit difficult to work with, are now spirals. So what can we do here? Do we really need this, guys? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Do we really need this horizontal line going up here? And the answer is yes and no at the same time, because we do want to have that sort of like cross section going, but I don't want to be battling with the C remesher and trying to do more iterations to find the perfect solution. So what I'm going to do here instead is I am just going to export this as is. Just going to say export. We're going to go to our assets again. Decimate the retopo. We got the axe upper bandages low. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to duplicate the high polys and the low polys to recreate this bandage right here with one of the bandages that we have here that are actually working. Okay, I'll show you how to do that inside of Maya in just a second. Actually, let me start opening it before we continue, because now we're going to go to the axe right here. And if we go to the lower section, I actually just realized that I made a super terrible mistake. I didn't foresee this happening, but it happened. So now we need to solve it, and that's always good. And that's the fact that this thing right here, these bandages that I added right here, I actually mix some of them. Look at this. Like if I go all the way down to auto groups or polygroups, and we say auto groups, you're going to see that we have one very clean bandage right there, a messed up bandage right here, another clean bandage right here, another clean bandage right there, and another messed up bandage right there. And then there's like things floating around. You might find this. Again, this was a mistake. I didn't see it. It's not until today that I'm seeing this problem with the bandages. So we need to try to find the best possible solution. And the best possible solution is to reutilize the bandages that are working and eliminate the ones that are not. So for instance, this guy right here, I'm going to invert the selection, and then I'm going to hide that one. And of course, I'm going to hide all of this guys right here. So these 4 bandages that we have right here, these are working. We can work with these ones because they're complete loops. And I'm hoping that once we do the subdivision, we don't get any spirals. And then what we're going to do, again, inside of Maya, is we're going to duplicate both the high poly version, the decimated high poly version, and the low poly version to just recreate and duplicate the bandages. It's completely normal. I've faced this a lot of times during production, that you're going to have to redo certain things that you thought were already done because they're just not working the way you expected them to work. So here we're going to go see plugin. We're going to pre-process current again. Again, we don't need a lot of detail. This is pretty much just noise, and we just want to get like a basic shape right here. We're going to go see plugin, and 5% decimation is perfectly fine. Decimate current. Oh, sorry. I'm going to delete hidden. And now decimate current. There we go. So that's my high poly. Gets pretty much just noise. That's fine. And we're going to go to our retopo. We have the axe lower bandages. This is going to be the high. High. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to use series measure. So series measure. I think the polygon is a little bit high, so I'm going to have to redo that. Yeah. Let's bring the polygon down to 1 and hit series mesh to give us some really nice and clean elements. There we go. That looks very good. Let's very quickly go with CModeler, with our CModeler brush, and just check that we don't have spirals. Oh, there's a spiral right there. That's unfortunate. That one's fine. And there's another spiral right there. That's really weird. I didn't think we were going to get so many spirals. It's usually on like specific areas. It looks very clean though. It looks very, very clean. That's why I'm a little bit like weirded out by the fact that we have them. But that's fine. We'll use the same trick that I was going to show you. So I'm going to export this. I'm going to go back to assets. And here's the lower bandages, axe lower bandages low. Hit save. And there we go. Now we jump into Maya. And here inside of Maya, I'm going to import all of those. Actually, a faster way to import this is to go directly to the folder itself. And as long as you have the FBX plugin activated, you can just grab all of this guys and drop them right here. So let's go to their position. We know that the position is not going to be exactly where they're supposed to be, but I'm just going to use this to clean this up. Okay, so we got this horrible thing right there on the lower bandages. I don't know what that is. It's just select all of those faces and delete them. There we go. Cool. So, oh, you know what happened here? It seems like even though we told it not to retopologize these meshes, it still did. So I'm just going to double click the faces, and that's going to delete them. So that's the top bandages, or this is actually the lower bandages low. So let's call them low. And we need to bring the lower bandages, again, the lower bandages high, because they had the same name. Remember that when we have the same name, we get issues. So there we go. Now, what we're going to do here is, if we go to the lower bandages low, we know that this guy is perfectly fine. We know that this is a spiral. Or actually, oh, they're not. This is a spiral. And, oh, this is fine, actually. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so this is the only spiral right here. So I'm actually going to delete this guy right here. Just get out of here. And then now we're going to use the little, we can do this manually or use the little plugin or a script that I showed you last time to reduce the amount of polygons that we have. Let's do 1, 2, actually 1, 2, probably just 1 and 2. And I'm going to go 1, 2 over there because I don't want to go super, super low. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and we delete. And there we go. Now what we need to do is on the high poly itself, we also need to delete the high poly that we're not going to need. So now we only have this guys, lower bandages underscore high and lower bandages underscore low. And once we import this into the axe, the only thing we need to do is duplicate this thing, like both of them, like duplicate the low and the highs, Control D, and just let's enter the pivot point real quick. Enter the pivot point. Oh wait, it has very ugly things over here on the high poly as well. Let's delete those. There we go. So we grab both, we center the pivot point. There we go. And now with this duplicated ones, high 1 and low 1, just move them, rotate them around, scale them, like just Literally, we can even use soft selection and stuff, and just whatever we need to do to make these things fit around the axe in such a way that they look like they were still, or they were part of the whole thing ever since we started. So you can duplicate a lot of these things, and now that we have clean topology, it's going to be a lot easier to do. So we're going to do the same thing up here on the top bandages. So we know that this line right here and this line right here, these two like horizontals or vertical lines, are the ones that are having issues with, or we're having issues with. So let's just delete this. Still don't know what all of these guys are. Let's just go face, and there we go. Let's call this top bandages underscore high. Go to our folder here, top bandages or upper bandages low. Bring them in, isolate them, and again, we know this guy and this guy are problematic, so we just delete them. And that's it. Now we can use the script, which we have right here. Oh, it's not working the way I was expecting this to work. It's trying its best, but it's not really doing it, so we're gonna have to do this manually on the y-axis. Control delete, and there we go. We just keep simplifying all of these edges. And again, with these edges, we're going to just recycle. Like this edge right here, this horizontal one, looks really close to what we have. So we can just duplicate that one and use that one to rebuild what we had before. So let's just delete that. That guy, that guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy. There we go. Same deal here. Start there, 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 there. There, 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 there. Finally, this guy right here. It's very, very common to do this in a production, to recycle things that are working or not working to get the best possible result. There we go. So now we have two new high polys and low polys that match each other. They're, I would say, appropriately divided. Here's where I might be using the little script that we have right here. Not sure why it's not working now. It's not because it's a spiral, because it's not a spiral. But for some reason it's not working manually there. Is it because of the symmetry? Could be because of the symmetry. No, I think it's a spiral though. Is it a spiral? No, it's not a spiral. Weird. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As you can see, now we have all of these guys. We can just grab all of these guys, file, export selection. I'm just gonna call this bandages or axe bandages. We export them on our assets folder. Not there, on our project. There we go. Assets. On the retopo file, we'll just call this axe bandages. There we go. So this is what we're gonna get onto the other file, and then we just do a couple of tweaks here and there, and we're gonna be ready. Again, I'm just gonna duplicate high poly and low poly of the elements. It's very important that we duplicate both, and we modify them and move them around to recreate what we had before we deleted the ones that were being problematic. So with this, my friends, we're pretty much done with the retopology of the axe. So we're gonna stop the chapter right here, and in the next chapter, in chapter 5, we're gonna start with the legs. We're gonna do the skirt first, and then we're gonna jump onto the legs. So make sure to get all the way to this point. Again, get your favorite music, your favorite snack, a good drink and everything, and we'll be ready to continue. So that's it for this one. I'll see you back on the next one. Bye-bye.